Well, Foco Inc. presents on gentrification, Mi Casa Es Su Casa. Set in a historic and architectural landmark, this group exhibition investigates and reflects on metaphorical and literal notions of home belonging, displacement, street life, urban renewal, and gentrification, as well as activism. Here now to share a little bit more about the upcoming exhibition and opening reception are Bill Aguado, director of Foco Inc., with artists Carla Lopez and Sophie Vasquez. And thank you so much for coming to share with us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Hi.
Good. I mean, when we talk about the Bronx and gentrification, it's real. You know, Manhattan is facing it. And you guys are tackling this issue head on.
Well, I think what's especially appropriate about this exhibition is you have a viewpoint from younger artists, younger emerging artists who have the works are quite extraordinary. Mm-hmm. So it's a bit different than the usual politics that people discuss, mm-hmm. but it captures individuals, it captures communities in a very sensitive way.
Talk about your work and your work with this project.
For me personally, with street photography, it's a way of documenting the ever-changing neighborhoods that I've grown up in. Specifically, I was focusing on Westchester Avenue because I'm on the 6th. And that's becoming rapidly unrecognizable, and I've been living there for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so I use street photography as a way to capture the subtle beauties of my neighborhood, but also to have like an archive of something that I feel is slowly like losing my grasp.
So what do you see?
So many T-Mobiles have been popping up lately. I think there's been like 8. Mm-hmm. But no, small businesses that I used to go to as a child are shutting down. Reckon one of the biggest ones is right in front of the Fine Fair was a wine and liquor store and this beautiful graffiti wall, and now they just completely demolished it, and it's going to become a luxury condo, and it's going to block the view. It's going to bring in so much traffic, so much excessive stuff that we don't need. There's like so much other stuff we do need, but they're like, how about we build a mm-hmm. luxury hotel?
Mm-hmm. And for you?
My photography is really based on the Bronx girl experience. I was born and raised on the concourse, so I started doing the series Bodega Dreams for just to display how important bodegas have been in our communities growing up, and just the loss of that like classic bodega aesthetic that we're known for. And a lot of generations, like my uncle was a bodega owner, and I grew up in bodegas, in and out of bodegas, and I know how important they are to our community. And just seeing the displacement of so many families and all of that, I just want to keep that nostalgia for the rest of us, or for future generations to have.
And so you got several artists who are actually going to be collaborating. These are just a couple of them, but there are more.
There are two more artists. It's a group show of 4 artists. These are 2 are Bronx-based. The other 2 artists are from different parts of the city. And Foco serves the entire region, and has been in existence since 1974, providing artists of color with extraordinary opportunities that are not usually available to them.
Right. And so why did you tackle this topic in particular?
Well, the apartment gallery series is we identify apartments where people have been active in their own community. We have one that we've been doing it in Harlem and Convent Avenue. We have one in the South Bronx and one in the North Bronx. But I think what's interesting is that everyone has been active in their community, and it's their priorities, it's their focus that helps us define what the theme of the show, how it's going to be curated. And we have a curator that selects the artist and selects the work.
Mm-hmm. I'm asking them upstairs to take me back to the pictures that we're seeing right now, because we're seeing some images right now that are on the screen. So if you could walk me through a little bit of these pictures right here of what exactly we're seeing.
That's actually my photo. The black and white is
Okay, let's go back. Go back. Take me back one. The black and white.
The black and white, it's titled One Day in June, West Farm Square, in the Bronx, right on the 2 stop. I was actually photographing, if you've been there recently, there's a massive new building being constructed. And so I was kind of just photographing that, documenting it. And I kind of looked down and I just saw this gentleman, and I just took a photograph, and this is also mine. He told me a story in Cortlandt Avenue, another gentleman by the Bronx Documentary Center. He was talking to everyone, and he just kind of looked away for a second. I took his portrait, kind of just him in his own mind.
That's mine, yeah.
Go ahead, tell us. Jeez, that's mine. Go ahead.
Well, that photo was taken in El Barrio about 4 years ago. I spent a lot of time in El Barrio growing up, and it was just that lone Puerto Rican flag just like called out to me. And that's actually my first film photograph ever. So
Really?
yeah.
Okay. This you too?
Yes, that's me too. That photo was taken in the Hunts Point area of the Bronx. I was just walking around, and I just happened to find it, and there's one actually right across the street from it. And I had never taken photos, like I've taken a lot of photos of bodegas, but I never took a photo of it at night. And something told me to take it in black and white because I just wanted to capture the depth of it and make it look like super, you know. And this photo was taken on 172 and Grand Concourse. It was a gentleman that I saw there just hanging out on a summer day, listening to music. And I had to just take a photo of him. And I saw him a few years later and showed him this photograph. And he said that's one of his favorite photographs ever. So
Yeah, that takes me back. Yeah,
yeah, it's a throwback, yeah.
Pretty interesting.
And that image is the one we use for on the invitation, and it's really generated a lot of attention because there's street photographers, the documentary photographers, but the level of photography is of a very high quality that we're talking about fine art here.
Right.
So it's not just someone shooting and hoping to get a shot. This is a young, extraordinary artist.
And you're you have these young, extraordinary artists. You've got this hot topic that really is facing all of New York City, and an ability to really take a look through a different kind of lens, right? And people to be able to really identify.
Well, the person whose home we're in, she's part of the East Mott Haven Historic District of artists, homeowners of color who are trying to preserve their home, to preserve their culture, and to keep it going. And they see photography and the fine arts as a way of generating positive attention to homeowners, not to sell out, but to stay there.
Right, and that's what you kind of like led into my next question about that, because as you have your art, right, and people are taking a look at the art, what kind of feedback are you getting about what they're seeing and what their sense of emotion is?
Personally, from a lot of reactions I've gotten to my photographs that really meant a lot was reminds me of home. It reminds me of growing up, the summer stories in the Bronx. It's sort of like I capture something that's universal. It's something that we can all relate to, and that's really, I think, the biggest compliment and greatest thing of photographers, having someone have that emotional reaction to it.
The same goes for me as well. I've had people that grew up in the Bronx, moved to other states, see my photographs and be like, wow, this reminds me of home, this reminds me of growing up, like in the Bronx and everything. So I definitely relate to her as well.
Yeah, well, Bill, Carla, Sophie, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Raising a very important issue, and you guys do great work. So
Thank you.
Thank you so
hopefully
much.
a lot of people come out and check it out. And certainly it's definitely eye-catching. So I
Thank
want to
you.
let you know now, if you want to check out the opening reception for On Gentrification, Mi Casa Es Su Casa, it's taking place Thursday, yes, tomorrow, 5 to 8 p.m. at the Revival Romanesque Row House, and that's the Row House Gallery at 413 East 140th Street. The exhibition will be on view from May the 9th through June 6th. Be sure to check it out. Now, if you want more information or if you want to RSVP, visit Foco.org. Once again, Foco.org. All right, we'll have a quick break, and we're going to come back with more show coming up right after this.